more with Hollywood's most celebrated actress. George, he went on a Twitter firestorm here. Take a look. It's
so wonderful with me and my husband.
Good. So we shouldn't believe the claims about your marriage in Omarosa's book?
Oh, of course not, Stephen. She has a wacky new life.
Power and the capacity to fight back. It kind of broke my heart.
Have you ever had someone expose your biggest secret in front of everyone you know? That's exactly what happened to Melania Trump when Meryl Streep took the stage at the Golden Globes. I actually felt bad for her, until I saw what happened next. Remember when your parents said, "The truth hurts"? Well, Melania is learning that lesson the hard way. Her tantrum after Streep's speech wasn't just about defending her husband. It was about protecting the image she's worked so hard to maintain. And now that image is crumbling fast.
Of course, our president-elect tweeted about how overrated Meryl Streep is.
What kind of person ends up in the White House after being on The Apprentice?
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
That's right, people are still buzzing about Meryl Streep's speech last night at the Golden Globes, where she took direct aim at Donald Trump, calling him a bully.
Oh, no, she can't come. Please give her my be best, okay? Melania's office did release a statement.
Remember when Meryl Streep took the stage at the 2017 Golden Globes? Everyone thought she was just collecting another fancy trophy for her already crowded shelf. Boy, were we in for a surprise. Instead of the usual "thank my agent" speech, Queen Meryl launched what would become one of the most talked about award acceptance speeches in Hollywood history. As she accepted the prestigious Cecil B. DeMille Award, Streep didn't waste her platform on self-congratulation. She went straight for the jugular, Trump's jugular to be specific.
Respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter, someone he outranked in privilege.
Well, what about the claim that you and your husband sleep in separate rooms?
That is a lie. I haven't slept since the election.
But here's where it gets interesting. Her brilliance wasn't just in what she said, but in how she said it. Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence, Streep told the star-studded audience, her voice steady but charged with emotion. These weren't random observations about society. They were carefully crafted daggers aimed at the power dynamics many entertainment journalists later interpreted as a commentary on the Trump marriage itself. The room's reaction told its own story. As cameras panned across the audience, you could see the knowing glances, the subtle nods, and ultimately the thunderous standing ovation. Hollywood insiders weren't just applauding political commentary, they were acknowledging truths about Melania's situation that had been whispered about in industry circles for years. What made Streep's speech so masterful was that she never once mentioned Melania by name. Yet her comments about power imbalance and public humiliation painted such a vivid picture that everyone knew exactly what and who she was talking about. Talk about throwing shade without casting a single shadow. Of course, Streep could get away with this because, well, she's Meryl freaking Streep. With a career spanning over 5 decades and enough awards to sink a small yacht, she had reached that rare, untouchable status that allowed her to speak truths others wouldn't dare whisper. Trump may have his name on buildings, but Streep has her name etched in Hollywood history.
And of course, Trump responded in a tweet saying that Streep is, quote, one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood.
This is what happens when Mr. Long Island meets Mr. Long Tie.
Please welcome our next Commander-in-Chief, my husband.
This wasn't just another celebrity getting political at an award show. This was the first time a major Hollywood figure had publicly hinted at what many suspected about the Trump marriage, on live television no less. Streep's carefully chosen words about bullying and respect opened a window into the private struggles behind the White House facade. They say actions speak louder than words, but in the Trump household, reactions scream volumes louder than any Hollywood script. While the world was still processing Streep's pointed remarks, Donald Trump was already thumbing away furiously at 3 a.m., declaring her one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood and dismissing her as nothing more than a Hillary flunky.
The message is even clearer with her next jacket. Why don't you send Stormy?
Meryl Streep, one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood, doesn't know me, but attacked last night at the Golden Globe.
Nothing says she totally missed the mark like rage-tweeting insults at an acclaimed actress in the middle of the night. But what's even more telling than Donald's predictable Twitter tantrum was Melania's response, or rather, her complete lack of one. As her husband publicly melted down, the would-be First Lady simply vanished. No comments, no appearances, no nothing. She canceled scheduled events faster than Donald cancels facts that don't suit him. This put poor Melania in what experts call a no-win situation. Stand by her man and look like a doormat, or stay silent and basically confirm everything Streep had hinted at.
And that the "I don't really care, do you" jacket she wore to the child detention center was meant to hurt Trump.
Only way you can do it is to feel you have to. You have to. You don't have an option. You have to. Stand up, speak up.
The body language between the Trumps has always been worth 1,000 prenups. Those infamous hand swats weren't just random acts of defiance, they were calculated public rejections. Body language experts who've analyzed footage of the couple note how Melania consistently maintains physical distance from Donald, her smile disappearing the moment she thinks cameras aren't watching. It's like watching someone forced to sit next to a stranger who keeps trying to share their stinky lunch on a 5-hour flight. Melania's little rebellions tell their own story, too. Remember that "I really don't care, do you" jacket she wore while visiting immigrant children? That wasn't a fashion faux pas, it was a walking billboard of her feelings. And it's not just public gestures. Behind closed doors, Melania reportedly speaks Slovenian with her family, creating a private linguistic bubble that completely excludes her English-only husband even when they're sitting in the same gold-plated room. The financial side of their arrangement is equally revealing. Sources claim Melania renegotiated her prenuptial agreement multiple times after Donald's election, essentially using his presidency as leverage to secure a better future for herself and Barron. Nothing says true love like contractual renegotiations triggered by your husband's political success. The juxtaposition of Donald's explosive tweets and Melania's strategic silence ultimately validated everything Streep had delicately suggested.
Am the most overrated and most over-decorated.
Now, things may seem tense with Donald and Melania, but they also just spent last week on vacation together, so maybe they patched things up.
Without mentioning names or marriages directly, the actress had managed to expose the uncomfortable truth about power imbalance and disrespect at the core of America's new first couple. And there you have it, folks. When Hollywood and Washington clash, it's not the one with the louder voice who wins, it's the one with the classier delivery. Meryl Streep didn't need all-caps tweets or press conferences to make her point about the Trump marriage. She just needed a microphone and the truth.
In my opinion, Melania is counting every minute until he is out of office and she can divorce him. That is going to be tough on Trump.
It's terrifying to put the target on your forehead, and it sets you up for all sorts of attacks and armies of brown shirts.
Meanwhile, Melania continues to avoid the spotlight like it's a prenup signing ceremony. Recent reports show she's keeping a super low profile and focusing on her own stuff instead of supporting Donald's 2024 campaign. One book even claims she flat out despises the guy. Her continued absence tells us more than any forced interview ever could. The Trump-Streep showdown reminds us that sometimes the biggest statements come wrapped in the quietest packages. Hollywood, 1. Orange turd, 0.